properties. Oh, and South Salina and Harrison. Oh, you know what? If you want to shuffle, because you've got North Franklin, obviously. We've.
She's doing.
Okay. Morning, Sean. How's it looking over there? Little lighter.
They moving you?
We're up at the Commons, or at One Park Place, if you want to take one of those spaces. They're nice. Right.
So you're at one park?
No, we're not leaving here. We've got 7 extra cubicles over there that just newly opened this week.
Really?
Very nice. Facing south, you look at the basketball mural on the main building,
Oh, cool.
right down the valley. Best view in town. Probably not, but it's one of the better views.
Yeah.
The other day at the department head, I haven't been, and it's just, man, just being up.
Spectacular.
It's just they're on the 7th floor, and
Who is there?
NBD's there. HR is in the process. They're in the last day of their move today, and yeah, I mean everybody under it. I mean, codes, permits, neighborhood development, business development, fire prevention, and mayor's office to reduce gun violence is there, and citizen review board. Got the whole 7th floor.
you play?
Yeah.
You know Bill Barry?
You know Bill Barry?
Yeah, he's dating my best friend.
Oh, really? Rose?
Yeah,
Bill's
she's my best
cousin.
friend from Blessed Sacrament.
Bill's
We
my
go
cousin.
back to 2nd grade.
Small world. Huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We went to see there was a monkey. I mean, I've seen Bill play in the
Yeah,
but
right.
monkey.
Fever?
Oh my gosh, they were. It was a benefit or something at the dinosaur. That was the first time I've seen that. They were outstanding. But oh yeah.
Bill's in about 7 bands.
Yeah.
That's just one of them.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, a good bassist is in high demand, right?
He's probably one of the few acoustic, upright bass players.
Uh-huh.
And been doing it for
Oh, cool.
actually, guys I play with, I think there's 4 Sammy Hall of Famers. I say I'd be in there except for steroids.
so Bill's
What's your band?
It's called Colleen Prossler and Friends. So Skip Murphy's in it, and Lauren Berger, Mark Hoffman, me, JD.
It was such a tragedy with Lawrence. Yeah.
He's still better than 99% of us,
Yeah.
even without
Yeah.
that finger working.
Yeah.
This one's
He
so-
probably doesn't feel it
No,
though.
he
Yeah.
can't do some stuff he used to do,
Right.
but
And his son is great.
LJ's great. Yeah. Who?
Did you say Bill was your cousin?
Bill's my cousin.
I haven't seen him around, but he might.
Dad and my mother were brother and sister.
We're getting a little bit better.
Met Rose.
Yeah, Rose and I go back to 2nd grade.
Wow.
She was my maid of honor. I was hers.
Really? Wow. You're very close then.
Yep. was at my daughter's wedding.
Yeah, he seems very happy with her.
Great.
Very nice. It was another cousin's memorial service where he brought her.
You know anything about Donna?
Oh, yeah, we did. This is the few weeks where it flies. We get
Oh,
like
minutes?
4 minutes a day. Maybe not that much, but. Yeah. Yeah, it was a little bit late at like 6:15. It was really a change from
Anything on
every day. It
Donna?
helps when there's snow on the ground, too. though.
Anything on
Right.
Donna? As of yesterday, she was good to come.
I will say, with the non-snowy winter,
Okay.
it's a lot gloomier without that reflective.
I like
cloud.
snow, actually.
It really,
I like to have snow.
It's hard to back down the driveway when there's no snow to guide the edges. Oh, this is hopefully more in count than it is in time.
Right, right. More, usually the case, but,
Kevin's batch and the Destiny batch.
oh, is that it today? Okay. All right. So,
speaking of Mary Hunter.
Others too, but yeah.
yeah, okay. So good morning, everyone. This is Friday, February 16th, City of Syracuse Board of Assessment Review. Just wanted to open up the meeting this morning. We'll have a roll call. My name is Joe Saya.
Sue's Rob.
Okay, and we've got one other on the way, I believe. Just wanted to remind everybody that these meetings are being recorded and can be viewed on YouTube as well. I think what was the address or the YouTube address? Bar, something to that effect? That's okay. We'll get back to it. So, opening up the meeting, we've got our first petitioner here. How are you, sir?
My name's Kevin Rowe.
Yes, nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
And what I'll do, let me swear you in first, if I could, and the city as well. If everybody could raise your right hand. State your name for the record.
Kevin Rowe.
Your other right hand.
It's not how today's
You're
gonna
not
go.
used to this. Kevin Rowe
Oh, sorry, Matt OJ.
And Gallagher.
is not starting off very well. I just, but it's going to get better. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Can you just give us a little setup? These, do they need to be read in separately, separate situations?
I think there are, I believe, a total of 6 parcels comprising 4 properties, really. So there's a couple of properties, or maybe there's a couple of properties that have 2 parcels that operate as a unit. One
Okay.
is an apartment complex, one is a parking lot.
All right, well, why don't you guide me then, I guess? Are these all of Kevin's or more? Okay. So 1, 2, 3, I have 6, 5.
Right.
Okay.
So where do you want to start? What do you have on top there?
Well, makes no difference to me, but what's on top is 101 South Salina.
101 South Salina.
But we can go in whatever.
No, that's
order.
fine. I'll go in your order.
All right, so if that's the case, then, is this just a single property?
This is a single property.
Okay, let me read it into the record then, and then we'll go from there. And just bear with me for 1 minute, I just want to, 101 South Salina. Okay, so, once again, we have 101 South Salina Street. This is the former M&T Bank building. Let's compare and confirm some numbers. All right, so I have a current tentative assessment of $11,620,000.
Correct.
And I just want to make sure we're.
This one may require some explanation.
I just wanted to compare up the numbers, make sure we're talking about the same thing. Because he's got $3,010,000 as current tentative, and it's just so far apart.
We're not challenging the assessment per se. The continuation of it's a challenge to the amount of the exemption.
All right, then let me just read the numbers in and we'll go from there. So once again, we've got a current tentative assessment of $11,620,000. With a land value of $588,000. The equatable market value to that tentative assessment is $18,592,000. Okay, now to go down to your numbers, for starters, you think I know it's an exemption issue, but we've got, we believe the fair market value is $3 million.
No, that's,
This one's complicated.
Yeah.
And I think I apologize. I might have given the board some documents that have lead through from last year's numbers.
Okay.
This is now a completed project. The assessment is different from what it was last year. There's been a resub. But ultimately, I'll leave it to Kevin to lay the groundwork.
yeah. Well, this really goes back to the propriety of the 2022 assessment, which is under challenge in an Article 7 proceeding. You can't do anything about this right now because we're not challenging the assessment. We're only challenging what the 2022 assessment was, and that will govern how much the exemption will be ultimately. So this is just a placeholder to make sure we preserve our rights.
Okay.
And that's all you really need to know, I think.
Okay.
That
Yep.
an agreement?
I can't improve upon that. But that's where we are.
Okay, so let me just make a couple notes here. That's all you had to say. You know.
That's all I had to say about that one.
I fumbled around here for about 10 minutes, and you watched me. You enjoyed it.
We're letting you spin up.
Yeah, but exactly. Okay, so next property or set of properties.
What do you have? Because I don't want you guys to have to shuffle yours. I can shuffle
Well,
mine easier.
all right. There's 138 Jamesville, North Jamesville, and 126 North Jamesville.
Yeah, those properties should be read in together.
Okay.
They operate together as an apartment complex.
Do that. We have, I'll read in 126 North Jamesville Ave first. So we have a 140-unit apartment complex, including property located at 138 Jamesville, North Jamesville Ave as well. Let's just take a look at some numbers. Okay, so we have current tentative assessment of $5,200,000 with a land value of $128,100. That would be a market value of $8,320,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $3,500,000, which would equate to $2,187,500 assessed value. 128 North I'm sorry, 38 North Jamesville Ave. Okay, 140-unit apartment complex, including property located at 126 North Jamesville Ave. Numbers, current tentative assessment of $1,080,000 with a $32,000 land value. That is a market value of $1,728,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $500,000 with an equatable assessed value of $312,500. So I will turn it over to you. Did you want some coffee?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
You sure?
Appreciate it, yep.
Okay.
So these are this Carriage House apartments. They're over near Manley Field House, kind of down the hill a little bit from there. These have been in litigation since 2022. We have an appraisal exchange date coming up shortly on the pending proceedings. I think the only thing I would add, there was a purchase price, maybe a year or two before the 2022 proceeding. And I think that's sort of the subject of the dispute, really. But we contend that it was a 1031 exchange, among other things, but and that the income has not supported the purchase price, essentially. So we are proceeding to litigation on that one. The only thing I would add is that there was a fire last year. A tenant left something on the stove, started a fire, did about $800,000 worth of damage. It's been repaired, but as a result, the insurance premium went to from about $42,000 to almost $340,000 for insurance premium. So I've attached to the grievance the insurance statement, so that's obviously put a big hit on them. I've never heard of such a thing, but that's apparently what happened. So,
What were the numbers? Went up to 340. What was it prior to?
about $42,000. So the insurance, yeah, so it went up about $300,000 for an $800,000 event.
Yeah,
So,
I know why you're in the business.
Better today than it was yesterday.
So I know this is litigation and all that good stuff, but I did just, if you could answer, and you might have already said it, but you said that the contention is the purchase price and the income doesn't support that. Just a little bit about that.
okay, so when they bought the property, I can't remember the purchase price number off the top of my head. But the purchase price, if you apply that, it would support the assessment. But we contend that the time has passed. There's also COVID intervened, and they had a lot of vacancies, a lot of delinquencies, especially delinquencies during that time. But even if you adjust for the delinquencies, the income, if you capitalize that you have to capitalize that at about 1% to get to the assessment based on the actual income. So if you apply a reasonable capitalization rate of 7% or something, justifies a substantial reduction in assessment.
And how did they arrive at the purchase price then?
Well, it was a 1031 exchange, among other, which gives motivation to the buyer to try to make a quick exchange.
Yeah.
And so I think I have, not on this one, I have the actual. Rent roll attached to this, as well as the 2023 income expense statements. Giving you the prior
Probably in
ones.
our file as well.
Yeah, and the prior ones, in response to your request for additional information, we've submitted the earlier ones. So that's really the story there.
Okay. fair enough.
Not too much, yeah, in litigation, as Kevin's explained, we're pretty far apart, so we are going to appraisals. And, with a little luck, we won't be before you next year with this one.
That. So again, I can switch around, but the next one up is 115 North Warren.
It's a single property, so.
Read that in then. Okay, so once again, 115 North Warren Street. This is a 221 space parking lot. And just to confirm and verify. Okay, we have a current tentative assessment of $1,025,000 with a land value of $1,025,000. That would equate to $1,640,000 market value. Petitioner believes the full market value is $400,000, and that would be an assessed value of $250,000. And is this in litigation also? Okay. Okay, go ahead.
So again, this is a parking lot located over near it's kind of underneath the 690 towards Salina Street. Church.
Between Willow and James,
Yeah.
right over here, north of Lot 3.
Yeah, right.
One of the issues there, they've been having their, if you look at the income, which is I've attached to the grievance, this is the current year's income. It's about net income of about $40,000 after you back out depreciation and interest. And part of the problem is security. They've had to hire full-time security, and that's reflected in the expenses here, just partly because of location. I've had a lot of animals and that sort of thing, so they've had to have full-time security officers.
The lot directly across the street from City Lot 3.
Directly northwest, yeah, kitty corner across the James and Warren.
Oh, okay, so it's kitty corner. And then it's behind where MB. Okay. You know, I might have asked this over other years, but typically, do they pay taxes while things are in litigation?
Almost exclusively, yeah. All Kevin's clients are like in that regard.
So they pay and continue on, not to get too far behind or what have you? Okay.
So you'll see, if you see on the income, the expense line, there's a lot for on-site personnel, it's about $32,000, which they're paying for security, on-site personnel. You know, out of a total income of about $170,000, so a big chunk of their expenses is in security.
What has been happening there as far as incidents?
Break against the vehicles and that sort of thing. I mean, that's what was happening, which caused them to bring in the security.
During the day and, yeah. Yeah, I know.
So that, yeah, and this one's in litigation. We've not spoken about this one as much as the other one, so.
Oh, no. Yeah. We feel good about this one. Have sales comps to back it up. Parking has rebounded since COVID in our understanding of the market. Sales are strong. Rates are very strong everywhere except for the City of Syracuse owned parking facilities. Got data here. That's not all we've got.
You're saying that rates are down?
Oh, no, rates are up across the board except in garages that we control. It is, yes. Since 22, right?
Yeah, these are all since 20.
Okay, so then we have 818 and 822 East Bayette.
Should be read in together. Operate as a single parking lot, essentially. Adjacent.
Okay, sounds good. I'll go ahead and do that. So I'll read in 818 East Bayette Street first. Parking lot consisting of 53 spaces, operated together with parcel number 048.02-03.2, which is an additional 48 spaces. Just to confirm some numbers, we have a current tentative assessment of $700,000 with a land value of $700,000. That would bring a market value of $1,120,000. And then the petitioner believes the fair market value is $180,000 with an equatable assessed value of $112,500. And then the other property would be 822 East Fayette Street. Parking lot consisting of 48 spaces operated together with parcel number 048.02-01.5, which is the additional 53 spaces. Numbers-wise, current tentative assessed value of $260,000, with the land value being $260,000. Market value would be $416,000 on that figure. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $123,750, which would be an assessed value of $77,344. Are these in litigation also?
These are, we've had extensive discussions about these. I think we're made a lot of progress. The ball's in our court to respond to the latest offer from the city. We'll do it early next week. This is the other thing. The second parcel you read in it had a small taking for the I-81 project. So it's hard to tell how much that's going to impact value over time until the project is done, but assessment went up. When we lost property, I'm not sure how that
And the, how many spaces or?
I don't really know yet how it's going to impact that configurations.
Be taking of about 52 square feet, I think, which I'm hopeful, especially for your client's perspective, that we don't lose any spaces. Looks like a snow storage area at the northeast corner of the lot. But again, until the trucks are gone and the pavement comes back, it's hard to tell.
And even if you lose a snow storage area, that means you got to put the snow in a parking space.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
Excellent point.
When these are ultimately settled, and I'm not saying these in specific, but generally, is there a normal time frame that you shoot for?
Oh, as soon as possible with this one.
Well, no, I mean duration. Like it's an agreement good for 5 years or 10 years or hopefully forever. I'm just curious.
We'd freeze it for 3. And the world will be a different place in year 4, so we'd reconsider that.
So generally, it's a 3-year agreement?
But generally, yes.
statute that says if it's in litigation and it's resolved, if it's reduced, it's locked in for an additional 3 years beyond the last year challenge. So we've got 20, 22, 23, and 24, and the judge says it's reduced by $50,000, that's locked in for 25, 26, and 27.
And then my last question is, do they generally come back once that 3 years is up?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Depends.
Yes, I
Depends on-
know it depends, and I just, it just seems like an awful lot of
115
money
North
being
Warren
spent on
is an
both
example
sides.
of somebody who comes back, and most of the rest of these are examples of those who don't.
Okay, anything else you want to add?
Anything else?
Mary is here.
Okay. All right,
I'm going to sit in on those if you don't mind as well.
yeah. Is she, do we got, yeah, we've got a couple, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we are 20 minutes ahead of schedule, so
Well,
February 16th, who had that on the office pool?
this one is the first one there, so,
Okay, so we're still ahead of schedule.
yes.
Okay, so hand these over to you. Yes, yes. Okay, so 317 West Fayette? Yeah, okay. Good morning, how are you?
Morning, how are you?
Good. Yeah, have a seat, and I'll be right with you. Okay, you're here for 317 West Fayette Street.
That's correct.
So let me just swear you in, if I could. If you could both raise your right hands. State your name for the record.
My name is Adam Alamo. Mike Alamo?
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Let me just read the property in, a few particulars, and then I'll turn it over to you for a little explanation. Okay, so once again, 317 West Fayette Street. This is a mixed-use, two-story building with 2 apartments upstairs and a small commercial storefront. And lot numbers and so on and so forth. We have a current tentative assessment of $320,000 with a land value of $27,800. That would be a market value of $512,000. The petitioner believes the fair market value is $400,000, which would equate to a assessed value of $250,000. Just a quick ask, was this an increase in assessment?
This was, and I'm sorry, I'm looking up the block right now, but this was part of the typical downtown annual reassessment. Blocks, I believe, 1 through 5 had moderate changes. But yeah, we usually do.
Okay. All right, very good. And let me just see if I can pull anything out of here. Okay, so on June 6th of 2022, the property was purchased for $525,000. It says no relation, arm's length transaction. Nothing else here. We do have a letter, which we'll take a look at from the petitioner. And then we've got a couple of pictures of the building with some notes. And so, is it this complete building?
A white building, yes.
White one.
The white building?
Just that building.
The second one, same exactly, but a little bigger.
Say again?
Next building, next to, a little bigger, but same year built.
Owned
same
by
everything.
separate.
Owned by separate people,
Yes.
but it's the white building we're talking about?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. And, all right, so why don't you tell us a little bit about the situation?
Sure. So just to begin, we're family, so this is my father, and he owns the building. I'm here to help him out because his English is a little limited. So the reason for why we're here is because we saw the assessment change, which increased the building's assessment for over more than $75,500. And the first thing that we did is just took a quick comparison of the buildings that are to the right of us and to the left of us. And as you saw here, so we have the two pictures. This building, though, so both were built at the same time. The only difference between our building and the building on the left is that that building is slightly bigger than our building. However, they were assessed for $190,000 for the year of 2024, while we were assessed $320,000 for 2024, more than double. And yes, we did purchase the building for $525,000, but the reason being is that we have a business where we're putting our business in there. So we thought the building is not worth more than $400,000, but we had to pay that price so that we're able to continue having our business in there. And with that being said, so this is a small building with 2 apartments and a commercial space in the ground floor, but we have not been getting a penny on the ground floor because we're still trying to open our business, and the city has some requirements to allow us to open the business, like a certificate of use and certificate of occupancy. So we're working through that to get our business up and running. But because of that, basically, we have not been able to get anything from the commercial storefront. And then the upstairs, we recently rented back in October. So for at least half a year, we had no income on those as well. Solid, continuous rental income. And so with this assessment, I mean, I don't know how much the exact tax increase would be, but we're already struggling financially with this building. It's a small building and income is very limited. We're already struggling financially, and then to add to that increase would create an undue burden for us. And then, so that's just the financial situation. And then just from a quick comparison, so I already explained this building on the right, being that they're twins, in the sense that they were probably built in the same time. The only difference is this building has a bigger lot, and you already know the difference in assessment for these 2 buildings. Now, this building here is to the left side of our building, or sorry, to the right side of our building, is a 3-story building that is 6,294 square feet, I believe, and they were assessed for $240,000, while we were assessed $320,000. And this building has, to my knowledge, at least 7 to 10 apartments upstairs, and then a commercial space with our bar downstairs. And so financially, they are definitely doing a lot. They're generating a lot more income in comparison to our small building, yet their assessment was just $240,000 and ours was $320,000. So just the aggregate of the financial burden that we're already facing and the small size of the building, and in comparison to those 2 buildings that are basically built around the same time, and are larger than our building and have a small assessment, we believe that our assessment was higher than what it's needed to be. And
Let me ask you a couple of questions.
yes,
You bought it in 2022. What, you haven't been operating out of there as of yet. What type of business is it?
a deli,
Coffee.
deli
Coffee.
coffee shop.
Coffee deli?
Yeah.
Okay. What's taken so long to get this thing?
We have, before tenant take a time, we put him in the court. He not pay rent for 5 months. We put him in the court, take it, and we take it after we wait for permit.
So
We
there
have too
was,
much work.
was there a tenant in that commercial
When the
space?
building was owned by a previous owner, there was a tenant, but he didn't have a lease. It was, his lease was
Month to month.
expired.
And so did you originally buy it with the intent of putting your own business
Yes.
in there? So you were just letting the tenant stay there until you were ready to get started?
Yeah.
So that was the time frame. And then all right, so when do you think that you're going to be operating?
Hopefully by May, but, we still have to wait to get the full approval. The city asked us to do some minor alterations. After they're done, usually there's like an inspection that needs to be done, and then if everything is okay, we can open. But hopefully by April or May of this year.
Okay. And if they're minor, I mean, you guys are hopping to it, I
Yes.
assume?
Yep.
And then the second floor, what are you getting as far as rents are concerned?
So apartments, there are two apartments. Right now, we are getting 1,500 for one and then 2,000 for the
And
other.
full furnished.
But it's, we provided the furniture and we pay for internet, we pay for water. So I don't know how you want to calculate it, but it's basically 2,000 and 1,500 with almost everything included except for electricity.
Good rents, I would say.
And they were recently rented, so both were rented in October of this year.
Are they on leases?
Yes, year,
Did you happen to bring any copies of the leases?
not now.
Okay. So, anything else you want to add? I'll come back to you.
Oh, yes, and then the last thing was, so there was actually also a building on Walton Street that sold for 600,000, and it's a bigger building than our building, and they were recently assessed for 292,000, despite the fact that their building cost 75,000 more than ours, and their building, I think, is bigger than ours. I'm not sure the exact square footage. I think it was 3,400, 3,450. So it was bigger in size and costed more, but they were assessed 292 while we were assessed for 320.
And these are current numbers that you're telling us?
To our knowledge, yes.
Okay. All right. So,
We agree with all of that. So in a vacuum, I think we're comfortable with this. We have sales data, but it helps to get the perspective refined, obviously. The slow conversion of the vacant tenant space for owner occupancy is something that we weren't aware of. I think we can make some distinctions among the neighboring comps that might help petitioners. 313 adjacent to this has only one apartment upstairs. That accounts for significantly lower value. Building to the west, and we're always open to improving our inventory, but right now we have a bar on the ground floor, 20 SROs on the upper floors, and those are pretty extremely low value, in fair condition. So that's, despite the physical characteristics, it's a pretty low value property by comparison to considerably nicer apartment. For clarity, we have a 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom okay, so our inventory is right. I think based on our body language here, I know the board doesn't generally look favorably on unfinished assessments, but because of the condition vacant tenant space under construction on January 1st, we'd want to consider an unfinished. We could reduce the assessment this year, offer a 485B next January 1st to reflect the commercial space being leased up and, in better physical condition.
and when did the, thank you for that. When did the tenant in the commercial space move out?
Say, and let me just ask him to confirm. I think around September
Yeah.
of last year.
Yeah, that might have been an owner-occupied situation as well, their previous owner.
No, the previous owner did not own the
Okay,
building.
okay. Did not
Previous
operate the
owner
business.
Did not operate the business?
No, the previous owner was, the building owner was Jan Nastri. He didn't own
Okay.
the business, but he rented it to the commercial space. And the first condition that we had before purchasing the building was we wanted to know what the commercial space situation was. Because our intention, it's a small building, our intention was to put our business in there. And so when we knew that that commercial tenant is not on a lease that's been expired for over 2 years, and it's on a month-to-month basis, that was the main reason for why we got the building. And, we got the building through a bank loan too, so that's why we, even though we thought it was not worth more than 400, that's why we were able to get the financing from the loan, and because we wanted to put our business in there. But since
Yeah.
September, even so, we got this building in June, and then this tenant didn't leave until September. However, From that time that he was there, he did not pay us a single penny in rent.
You're reasonably comfortable that you're going to have your business up and running in the ballpark of May or so.
Yeah.
I'm always hesitant about putting unfinished assessments on property, because then it continues to lag and nothing gets done, and because there's no pressure and so on and so forth. So,
If it helps, we've been a little more militant about that in recent years, regardless of progress. These are one-year deals. Once the unfinished is offered, next tax status date, either it's improved and there's an exemption offered, or it's not improved and the original assessment comes back.
good.
I think for the record, they own 2 other businesses in Armory Square and have, opened and obviously not succeeded with one in Hanover Square, so they're good entrepreneurs for downtown. Yeah.
128 or 126 Walton is your current
128.
building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have,
I think I
we're
saw it.
local in Syracuse.
Well, that was a good piece to bring up. So what other businesses?
So we have a liquor store in Walton Street, Alamo's Wine and Liquor. We have a grocery store on Walton Street, Alamo's Food Market, and then this is the 3rd business that we are opening. We had another business in Hanover Square, but we recently closed, just financial burden.
Okay. No, that's good to know.
212,000 based on my quick packet. 212.
But only,
For
and
this
also
year.
if you compare to this building around us, it's big difference.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to stand by our inventory there until we've got hard proof that it doesn't have those 20 single occupancy, sort of shabby, for lack of a better word, upstairs. I think those are probably $300 a month at best, single room rentals, common bathrooms. And we looked at both those buildings this year, didn't see cause to increase. I think we increased them both as recently as 22. We'll certainly look again this year and we'll look with clearer eyes. That's a tough building. But rest assured, 4th quarter of this year, we'll give it a close look.
My question is, instead of I'm not sure what unfinished assessment means, but is there any way where we can come to a more conclusive assessment during this meeting?
So I guess I'm sorry, because I didn't articulate that well. I rely on assumptions that these guys know, but this is your first time in this seat. So what this would be we'd reduce the assessment for this year to $212,000 from the 320 tentative. Once you have your C of O, we'd offer you the 485B exemption, which is a partial exemption from taxes. So that next January 1st, we'd increase it back to the 320, but 50% of the difference between 320 and 212 would then be exempt from taxes in year 1, and that would phase out over the course of 10 years. So in year 11, you'd be paying taxes as if this were $320,000. But in each of the interim years, it would essentially be taking the sting out of that increase to reflect the fact that you've made a nice investment.
Yeah, so it's good that you came in today, of course, based on that, because that's going to be a real help. You came in looking for some help, if you will, and that the city is proposing that. So we're going to take everything that you said as well as the city, but it sounds like it'll go in that direction, and then we'll send you a notice first week of April.
Also, probably, I think you explained, you have everything. You have some cost.
I have that, and we have not gone through it yet, but we will go through it, and along with everything else you said, but I think it seems like we'll come together on this for this year. Okay?
If that's an okay resolution, our staff would be happy to walk you through the 485B exemption application process. We have until December 31st. We don't want to wait until the 31st, but it's not a get it done this week or it's a problem.
Thank you.
So what I would do is the city's going to send you a notice first week of April. When you get that notice and then it is what it is, then I would come back into the assessment office and take care of that paperwork.
Just give a heads up that you're here. If I'm here, I'd be happy to come out and help. But,
Thank
we're all well versed in that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Whenever you're ready. Okay. So was the one that you wanted to assist with is 455 Franklin? Okay. So Michelle has put that on the top. So we'll go with that first.
Thank you.
Kevin's been sworn in, so I think we don't have to re-swear him in, right? Okay. Well, if you like, okay, can you state your name for the record?
Mary Hunter.
Kevin Rowe.
You both swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, so I've got all of the properties here, and as I had said to Kevin, we'll start off with 455 North Franklin. When we get into the rest of yours, if there's any that should be read in together, just let me know.
Sure.
And also in whatever order you want to go in.
Amenable after
Okay.
this one.
Okay.
Whatever way you want to take them.
All right, no problem. So let me just find this on the list here. Now, I have two entries for this, for whatever reason. Oh, not necessarily.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, fair enough.
Well, it does reflect the 2 years are at issue, and last year you didn't take the opportunity to argue that year. Right? I mean, that's why it's
It was
listed
listed
twice,
as,
I think.
it was listed as exempt last year.
Right.
And it was changed in the middle of the year. So we are grieving 2023 this year as well as 2024 because it didn't become taxable. It was changed later on in the year, so we didn't have an opportunity to grieve it last
Well,
year.
not to be pedantic, you had the opportunity, just didn't think there was a reason to.
Well, yeah, but we have a right to, our position is we have a right to challenge it now.
You certainly do. Hope I didn't give anything away there, but I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
So
let
there
me-
are two separate grievances, one for 23 and one for 24.
Okay, and that's probably why. Yes, and I do see that. And let's see if there's a distinction
The only distinction really is the two separate tax years. The assessments were the same for each tax year.
on it.
The claimed value is the same, the submissions are the same.
Okay,
If that helps at all.
I got it, okay. Okay, so there's two separate petitions, applications in here that I see for 2023 and 2024. So I'll go ahead and read in 455 North Franklin Street. And we have a current tentative assessed value of $4,900,000 with a land value of $442,000. That would be a market value of $7,840,000. Commissioner believes the fair market value is $3 million, which would be an assessed value of $1,875,000. And again, two applications for tax years 2023 and 2024. So I'm going to write some numbers down on both of these. And so this is in litigation?
Yes, it is. And there has been numerous conversations with Kevin's office and the representatives of the property owner. There have been offers of settlement, And there is a counteroffer that was presented by the city, and we're in the process of reviewing it with representatives of the owner. One of them has been out of town.
Oh, I think that covers it. This was unusual. This was roll section 8 last year, as Kevin notes. On the back end of a pilot, we had an error on the roll, ultimately corrected. That obviously didn't come to the property owner's attention until grievance was over. So, first time this has happened in my tenure.
Me too.
Yeah, there you go. Unusual, but we are certainly closer than we were 6 months ago when this was brought to our attention.
Progress.
All right, very
I think
good.
that's all we have.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Kevin. They're all gonna be.
Oh, good.
Okay, so again, I'll just tell you what I have on the top of my list. 741 North Salina, and I'm thinking maybe 731 and 733 North Salina together or separate?
741 North Salina and 731-33 North Salina are together.
And that's okay to go with those?
Yes, if that's okay with the assessor's office.
Certainly.
Okay, very good. Let's see what we got. Let's just find them here. Okay. You did 741 first. And then the other one. All right, so we have 741 North Salina Street. This is a 1.5-story commercial building, approximately 8,455 square feet. Second floor is unfinished. We have a current tentative assessed value of $335,000 with a land value of $38,500. That would be a market value of $536,000. The petitioner believes the fair market value is $250,000, and that would be an assessed value of $156,250. So if I could just go on to the other property. This is 731-33 North Salina Street. This is a sloped parking lot associated with Biscotti's Cafe, located at 741 North Salina Street, Two-Lock Alley. We have a current tentative assessment of $38,500 with a land value of $28,500. There would be a market value of $61,600. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $15,000, which would be an assessed value of $9,375. Let me just interrupt again and say, thank you very much for doing it. Last year she started doing it. This year it just makes things so much easier. With that, if I could turn it over to you.
Thank you. As noted, this is Biscotti, so I hope that at some point, and everyone has been over there to visit, so they at least know what the property is all about. The two parcels combined have a full market value of just under $598,000. As noted in the grievance, this is a 1.5-story building. Also attached were the photos of the second level of the building, which is To me, it looks like it's never been touched in terms of an apartment there, but maybe 30-plus years ago, someone was living there. One of the things that I've been able to talk to the owner about this specific area is that when they moved to the Little Italy section, they expected it to be something different than it is today. They made a significant investment 15 years ago, and it's a continual process with the City of Syracuse Police Department, gun violence. The police have been called a number of times. There's been gunfight, there's been hostage situations over there. They've had to modify their hours as it relates to closing earlier, so when it gets darker in the winter. They have a hard time, let alone with COVID, getting people to work. But they can't, the young kids who would normally work there, their parents won't let them work there because they're normally North Side residents, have to walk home, and they don't want anybody walking home at dark. So it has been a consistent issue as it relates to violence, theft. It goes back to Lock Alley, where there's a host of people dumping garbage. Every time they open up the door downstairs, somebody has left furniture, garbage, whatever it may be. So, you know, Debbie, who is Dominic Tassone's daughter, and which is the subject of a separate grievance, was Dominic's restaurant. And this was her passion. She's survived, but it has been an uphill struggle the entire time.
It was the one that made the desserts at Dominic?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, very talented.
Yeah, a very talented young lady. But it has been a struggle, you know, in terms of everything that's been happening. And what she had indicated was Little Italy didn't take off the way that it was intended or sold to be. But she's there. She has survived on her own independently, but it has been a struggle. I was able to take a look at some of the comparable North Salina properties. And I've had an opportunity to share some of that with the assessor's office. I don't know if there was any further investigation. It may be because maybe it's more familiar with the commercial aspect of some of the properties on North Salina Street. But
Is this, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
Is this a first-year
Yes.
grievance?
Yes, it is. But we're talking about a value of just under $600,000. And I talk about the parking lot, that if you've ever gone over to Biscotti's, to the parking lot, it's on a slope that goes down to Lock Alley. So in the wintertime, thank goodness it hasn't been so bad, they have to block off 6 of their 10 to 12 spaces because it gets so icy, they don't want anybody slipping back there. So they do block off a major portion of it in inclement weather. There have been some sales that have occurred of similar type buildings in the North Salina Street area. One that I happen to be familiar with is the Franklin Bar and Grill. Don't know if anybody's ever visited the Corsiniti establishment.
I have.
But just so happens that was a city rec softball team years ago, so I'm familiar with the property. That comprises 4 separate tax parcels. It has a 2,900 square foot bar, separate 2,900 square foot dining room, outside bar patio, parking for up to 25 cars, 9 apartments that are leased on the second floor with a reported annual income of $43,000, which is available on the website since it's listed for sale at $525,000. Yeah,
Neither did we.
Yeah, so,
when you look at the Franklin, I mean, here's a picture of it. The bar is on one side, the dining room is on the other side, because it kind of had a cut through, and then the apartments are up on the back. And then in the back, there's an outside patio, and the parking kind of goes around Ash Street, I think it is, and back up to North Salina.
are we 100% sure there's 9 apartments? Because I've talked to I sent codes.
Well, look at the tax bill. the tax bill shows the number of sanitary unit charges for 9.75, so they're showing something up there.
That could be the
There's only like 6 usable, and a couple of them are studios.
because we
But then the
have, I have
remainder
a
are
CFC
in
from
disrepair.
like
from
2
what
years
I
ago.
walked through it
for,
at one point.
Like one
Fixtures in
apartment and
place?
4 rooms.
There are very old fixtures, yeah, but they're there.
Right.
So there is an effective gross impact.
JoJo sold that place, right?
Yeah, JoJo sold it for $400,000 shortly after he tried to keep it going. Then after Mr. Corsiniti and Mrs. Corsiniti passed, his wife had a good job. He was able to get rid of it. And they sold it for $400,000 back in October of 2022. But when it's listed for sale, I mean, it talks about the square foot, the 2,900 square foot bar, the kitchen, the dining room, 9 apartments rented on a second floor with a $43,500 in annual apartment income, listed for sale at $525,000.
It's currently listed?
Yes, that's what I found on the World Wide Web, if anyone wanted to take a look at it.
It's
And
listed
I-
again.
I beg your pardon?
Is that an old listing or is it listed
It's a-
again?
No, it's a new listing.
Because Joe listed it for that exact price at one point. Same agent?
Same agent. So it's the equalized full value of those parcels are $391,000, based the 4 tax parcels comprised. The subject that I'm talking about is assessed just at under $600,000.
Was this an increase?
No. Nope, I thought it was the same last year.
Small increase.
Okay.
Ended all of neighborhood 6 this year.
Okay.
It's about the parking lot and, oh, yeah, 15,000 more this year than last. For the building, 14,600 more for the parking lot than last year.
Little increase, 30,000. Okay,
There's 2 other sales as well.
please.
658-60 North Salina Street and Division Street. We have a photo here. It's noted as 15 apartments, purchased at $475,000 on 3/22/2023. It's noted as an arm's length sale on the county's website. The assessment is $300,000 with an indicated full market value of $480,000. And there's some lovely pictures of the apartments that are in that building.
Okay.
And then we have 841 North Salina Street. The purchase price was $440,000, May 12th, 2023. It has an assessment of $105,000 with an indicated full market value of $168,000. This is probably the one that's the closest similar to the subject in terms of square footage. And this is what their apartments look like, as opposed to what's upstairs at Biscotti's. And if there's ever an opportunity that the assessment department or any other representatives would like to take a walk over and take a look at it, I'd be happy to make
I always like being invited to a pastry shop.
those. Say, I know they gave me coffee and cookies the last time, so.
We'd have to politely turn that down.
It might
I
be
would
provided.
prefer
It might be provided. I don't have that yet. The upstairs is not rented at Biscotti?
If I could just
He
refer
didn't
you
see
to.
the
Oh,
pictures,
okay.
but,
I'll just
I
refer you
did.
to some photos.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah,
happy to
yeah,
share.
you can
Uh,
take a
you
peek.
Okay.
That's okay.
We'll concede that
Yeah.
it's a wreck, which we assumed before
How long
seeing
have they owned the
various
building?
photographs.
At least 15 years.
Why haven't they renovated it to
They
rent
really
out?
don't have a need to renovate it.
Okay.
I'm probably, one of the things that they did suggest is, I don't know if they'd want to find what maybe hazardous substances may be upstairs.
Right. Should open up a whole nother
Right.
issue.
And this slight increase, this increase spurred her to?
Actually, no, it wasn't the increase that spurred her. It was the Dominic's Restaurant that we'll be talking about next, and why she had me conversing regarding Dominic's. She said, you know, I received a notice on Biscotti's, could you take a look at it? So I took a look at it, and I had just discovered that there were other sales with apartments that were rented, finished, and then her husband Jeff had told me that the upstairs was unfinished, and I'm always a little unclear when someone says unfinished. So I said I'd really like to take a look, and that was the state that I saw, so I confirmed that it was truly unfinished.
Yeah, no, that's good, good stuff. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah.
Or anything you wanna say?
I think we've got a little disagreement as to the class of property. We do consider this simply food service use. We treat the upstairs as what it is, unfinished, essentially storage space, though it's not used for storage, but low-value space. Our assessment does not take into consideration that there is productive space outside of the square footage of the restaurant. How we comped this out, obviously different than how Mary did, and a little unorthodox maybe, but we've got 4 sales comps of vacant restaurant. What's the difference between unusable upstairs space and usable downstairs space? Part of the reason we did this is because vacant restaurants are a very easy property class to back out real property value rather than personal property in the form of equipment and intangible property in the form of going concern, goodwill. So we think that makes for a good apples-to-apples comparison. Biscotti obviously has the advantage that it is a going concern, but nevertheless falls, even with the token increase, below this range. And I think there are 5 copies of this in the board folder, but for Mary's benefit, and just the record, we've got the former J. Ryan's over here on East Water, which was a 2019 sale, $139.94 a square foot. We've got 304 East Pendaga, the Mission, prior to becoming Luna Loca, sold for just a little under 70 a square foot. 1205 Erie Boulevard West, the former Patsy's Pizza, sold $116.82 a square foot. And an older sale, 713 East Fayette, which Tosh operated Flame out of, sold Game Exo Taco. That was $111.55 a square foot. So each of these, I think, is arguably less valuable than this operating. I think that's what we have for this. We do appreciate the inventory concerns. I think what this highlights, Little Italy is at the convergence of 4 different wards in the city, assessed by 3 different humans in our office, which does lead to some inconsistencies. Data collection is obviously something that we need to pay close attention to, having brought some of these comps to our attention. Pivoting to the parking lot at 731, we've got 4 north side parking lots. Topographically, I think not dissimilar to this. 3 of these are in the same block. These are a little flatter. I think anybody who's been to this establishment knows the slope of the parking lot. But with one outlier here, we've got 723, 721, 713 North Salina. The outlier there sold for $3 a square foot. The other 2 respectively sold for $11 and $14 a square foot. We've also got 205 Hickory, 2 blocks south, also on a very steep hill, sold for $10 a square foot. For comparison's sake, equalized, the full market assessment of the subject lot is $7.98 a square foot. I think all day we've got parking lot comps to support. Obviously, the restaurant's a bit more complicated, but we're comfortable, even though suffering from all the externalities that Mary has pointed out. But I think as a viable, occupied, operating restaurant, we are toward the low end of the data that we've seen.
The only thing that I think I would like to add is when I look at the classification as a restaurant, They serve coffee and lunch. When I think about all the other comparables that you mentioned, their ongoing concerns with alcohol, evening operations, et cetera, where they serve a variety of food, drinks, other pleasurable activities that this is not. This is really more of a coffee shop, diner. I don't consider it to be a restaurant. You can go in, there's, I think, 3 booths, and that 3 booths maybe, 4 booths, and a sofa. So I guess I don't think of that as a restaurant per se, especially when they close at, 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
We did try to steer away from, the Dominick's type of facilities, 150, 200 seat restaurants for that reason. Recognize that some of these are imperfect. I do think Patsy's is kind of on the nose. I think it might even be classified as a diner, regardless of hours of operation. I think these are, 2,500, got 2 2,500 square foot buildings, a 38, and then the Mission is obviously larger. That's a pretty unusual structure. That's a little under 6,500 square feet. But recognizing that not all of these are right on the nose, we did try to stay away from that large full service with a bar type of restaurant facility.
Well, I also look at they're in areas that, Exo Taco is, I mean, it has parking on the street, it has the parking, next door. I mean, it's always busy.
Well, not to go into the weeds, that's not their part.
No,
That, but-
right, they make arrangements, but I also look at that's activity. This is in-out. This is not where you go in and you sit down.
generally.
Right, it's in-out.
Pick up. Okay. Well, a lot of good points on both sides. And, we'll take everything into close consideration.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, again, I can jump around, but 1370 Burnett is next up.
That's the Dominic's Restaurant.
Okay, so that's by itself.
Yeah, there's actually,
'Cause there are some stuff
there's some
around
parcels, Greenway Ave,
there.
1338 Burnett, 205 Greenway, and 203 Greenway.
Okay. All right, so let me just read off my order and see if it's flows. 1370 Burnett, 206 Greenway, 1338 Burnett, 205 Greenway, 203 Greenway.
That's what I have, thank you.
And should I read it like that?
That's fine.
Okay, and read them all in together. Okay. Let me just find them here and make a couple notes. Read 5 in continuously, and then we'll take it from there. Once again, 1370 Burnett Ave. This is the former and vacant, currently Dominic's Restaurant. We have a current tentative assessment of $661,000 with a land value of $40,800. That would be a market value of $1,057,600. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $450,000, which would be an assessed value of $281,250. Next one is 206 Greenway Avenue. This is a vacant commercial parcel associated with former vacant Dominic's Restaurant. We have a current tentative assessed value of $12,700, with the same land value, $12,700. That would be a market value of $20,320. The petitioner believes the fair market value is $7,500. And that would be an assessed value of $4,687.50. Next property is 1338 Burnett Avenue. This is a parking lot parcel associated with the former and vacant Dominic's Restaurant. Current tentative assessment of $39,500, with the same land value, $39,500. That would be a market value of $63,200. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $35,000, which would be an assessed value of $21,875. Then we have 205 Greenway Ave. This is vacant commercial land associated with the former and vacant Dominic's Restaurant. Current tentative assessed value of $9,400, with the same land value of $9,400. That would be a market value of $15,040. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $7,000, with an assessed value of $4,375. Lastly, on this set of properties, there's 203 Greenway Avenue. This is vacant commercial land associated with the former and vacant Dominic's Restaurant. Current tentative assessed value at $15,000, with a land value of $15,000. That would be a market value of $24,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $10,000, which would equate to an assessed value of $6,250. I'm very familiar with, we probably all are, with that location. So I will turn it over to you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So what I did attach, I thought I was trying to make it a little simple ease because it gets a little confusing because of the number of tax parcels associated with this. What the Tassone family owned over on Burnett Ave versus what they were selling to begin with, and then they've downsized it. So there was an original listing of the subject parcels plus 4 additional parcels, which are listed on the grievance, for $1.1 million. And it's been for sale for the last 3.5 years. They have had some interest, but the size of the improvement restaurant area is not something in this day and age somebody wants to take over. They say it's too large. So what they did, and then they decreased the number of parcels because one was a hair salon, one was a little ice cream shop. They decreased the number of parcels and reduced the purchase price to $900,000. What they have been discussing with prospective purchasers is no one wants to get involved in this until the taxes get under control. The current indicated full market value of the parcels that are challenged is $1,180,000 and change. Any offers that are coming in, there's a specific allocation as to what they are attributing to machinery and equipment. So also included are some of the photographs. Everything is staying. Chairs, tables, all the cooking equipment downstairs in the basement, which are significant in terms of the bread making, the pasta making, everything that's downstairs. So restaurant owners have reached out to professionals to say, how much is this worth? Because I don't want to include it in my purchase price. I want to allocate it out separately, pay the sales tax because of the $200,000 that I would be attributing to the equipment. So everyone's coming up with $200,000 for the equipment, and they're looking at $700,000 for the real estate. But the problem that Debbie and her sisters are encountering is we have an assessment of $1,180,000, and they don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to go through the litigation. They want the tax situation under control before anyone steps into that property. So they're kind of in a catch-22 at the moment.
Taking the parking, Mike, damn I. Taking the parking off. Well, for starters, commercial property in the 6th Ward has not been reassessed as recently as we would like. So for a 3 years vacant restaurant to be here isn't something that we feel terribly comfortable with. Taking the parking out of the equation, there's more variance there than we might like, but I think all of those are defensible with comps that we have in everybody's packets. Mary, they're the same north side parking comps that we're generally familiar with. We would certainly recommend stipulating to what you've requested for the restaurant property itself if you drop the parking and drop both Biscotti properties.
The only thing I'm going to say in response to that is one has nothing to do with valuation of each other. So
It's a starting point.
it's a starting point, but when you combine the two properties, when we're talking about two separate valuations, two separate, obviously I will relay that offer to the client, but without my recommendation. However, it's up to them.
Sure.
Okay.
We're high. I don't think it's a state secret that we're high on a vacant restaurant here.
What was your offer?
We would be happy to change our tentative assessment from 661 on 1370 Burnett to the requested 281, 250. We are pretty defensive of our current land values for the adjacent support parcels, and as mentioned earlier, certainly defensive of our two Biscotti assessments. But don't think, I mean, we have comps here for other vacant restaurants, all of which, the highest of which is below the current full market of the former Dominic. So I don't think we have a leg to stand on here.
So what you're proposing is that as long as they accept the current tentatives on the surrounding properties of Dominic's and the parking lot and building on North Salina, then you would step down to the 2 and change.
Yeah, very happy to sign the 281, 250 onto the roll for the main restaurant property.
I don't want to take up the board's time in doing the calculations because I don't know what that comes out to on an
Yeah,
equalized full value for all the parcels comprising what we've challenged, but I'm happy to go through that exercise and get back to.
Take up our time doing that later.
Okay, that sounds
Maybe
good.
not today, but.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, I just wanted to get a basis for
Sure.
what was being offered.
So should we just kind of sit tight?
Yeah, we'll circle back after either agreed or not agreed.
Everyone is always accessible, so I'm sure I can get in touch with them.
Okay. That's good.
It gives me a reason to go over.
That's right.
Okay, so, if acceptable, then we'll move on. The final two are separate?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And I have South Salina, if you want to do that, or
Sure.
the other one. Okay. So let's go to 201-13 South Salina Street. 16. So this is in, once again, 201-13 South Salina Street. This is a 83,598 square foot mixed-use building. Just want to get some numbers here. Current tentative assessed value of $4,800,000 with a land value of $609,800. That would be a market value of $7,680,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $5,500,000, which would be an assessed value of $3,437,500. Turn it over to you.
This is the Salina White Memorial Building. It does enjoy an exemption as it relates to 485A. And as part of the renewal of that exemption, the assessor's office has been supplied with a host of information as it relates to leases, et cetera. This and 224 Harrison Street are two properties out of probably an inventory of 20 that are Tony Fiorito and Andrew LaRue, who have owned these for a period of time. What I have provided to the board was the 2023 income and expense statement together with the current rent roll. For the board as well is a copy of the 2021 and 2022. And one of the things that we'll all note is how the rents have gone down considerably as it relates to the office component of each of these commercial buildings, which is kind of a story that's told on a host of commercial office buildings, what's transpiring in terms of downsizing space. So I ask that the board review the financials as it relates to the subject property.
And this is or is not in litigation?
It is not.
It is not. Okay.
We're in the process of reviewing the P&Ls. Appreciate, obviously, Mary's provision of those. Not as far into those as I would like. I've got a couple initial thoughts, but too soon to really synthesize those for everybody's benefit. It's an unusual property. 14 apartments were carved out of vacant office space, about,
The old Costello office.
yeah, that's right.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a great building, but they're lucky they have the Court of Claims in there.
Yeah. A good lease. We don't have a ton, we've comped this out, but again, most mixed-use buildings around town that benefit from 485As, a lot less office.
This one's big.
Yeah, we've got 54,000 square feet of what I think we'd probably characterize as decent Class B offices, right? That's a tough one. We are close to $80 a square foot full market. Again, that's a little more characteristic, I think, of buildings with a higher percentage of residential space. So I think we'll probably be talking with Mary about this one.
And if there's ever an opportunity, you want to just reacquaint yourself with the property, you know that I'm more than willing to
We definitely would like a walkthrough, and anybody from the board who'd like to join for a walkthrough finds that beneficial as well. So we'll ask Michelle to coordinate schedules on your end, and we'll get with you about that as a first step.
All right, I'll make a note of a walkthrough then on that.
I guess while we're still here on the record, to qualify the request, it's that this building is characteristically different from more of the apartment-heavy buildings, like the Empire Building or 226 West Genesee.
Kind of a class of its own.
Kind of a class of its own, but exists someplace between that on the high end and the Chimes Building on the low end.
This building is mostly apartments. Residential units.
50-50.
Yeah.
40, well, assuming our inventory is right, 45 apartments, a lot of Class C office space, some
Inventory
vacant.
seems to be a problem these days.
No. Only where the 6th, 3rd, 2nd, and 9th wards meet.
Just had to say that.
The Bermuda Triangle up there in Little Italy is a tough area, apparently.
Right,
We're good on downtown.
okay.
Okay, so we'll get together.
Yes, no, so let's go through it, let's see what you think, and again, it's these are 2 of the 20-plus properties that I have for Tony, that they're the ones that are the 2 that stuck out.
So it appears that the last property is 218-30 Harrison Street.
Correct.
Okay. This property here is 102,784 square foot office building and parking garage built in the 1970s. 28,499 square feet is vacant, which represents 27% of the overall building. Let me just get to some numbers here. Current tentative assessed value of $3,050,000 with a land value of $723,000. That would be a market value of $4,880,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $3 million, which would be an assessed value of $1,875,000.
This is an older office building, so I guess I would put in the Class C, maybe C-plus category if I could, venture off. We do have significant vacancy. Attached to the grievance is the current rent roll and the 23 income and expense statement. I'll also provide to the board the 2021 and 2022 financials, which tells the same story as it relates to office buildings on the decline as it relates to income. Again, the story that is being told as it relates to these types of buildings, and Class C space is much more difficult to rent than Class A space. If there's an opportunity for somebody to get nicer, better space at the same amount that they're paying for less, I think it's reasonable to expect that they're gonna pick the better space. Again, if the city would like to take a look at this, I think it's been a number of years, this is not in litigation, a number of years since there's probably been any opportunity to go through it, so we would invite you to do the same with this as a Salina White building.
We'd love to.
Okay.
Love for anybody on the board to come through as well. P&Ls do tell a story. Again, we're not fully prepared to talk about those. Sales comps, well, a little light, also do tell a story. 600 Montgomery, legally, colloquially, 250 Harrison, right next door, sold last month for $52 a square foot. Equalized full market of the subject, unless I'm mistaken, is $38.69 a square foot. That is, of course, a smaller building, but characteristically very similar. I think that's something that should be taken into consideration. It's fully vacant, 420 and 430 East Genesee. The former, I believe, single-tenant Class C office space, the latter, an old hodgepodge that used to be condoed, but certainly multi-tenant Class C office space. Sold for $39 a square foot 2 years ago. That's pretty much spot on where we are right now. I think that data has to be about as good as we can get right now. P&Ls, might represent that there's not a lot of value there, but the market gives us a tighter range.
What's your general observation as far as the lack of demand?
Significant. You know, what's happening, and it's
Coming
also.
out of COVID, that many more are working from home?
Well, some of these companies have determined that, partners don't need corner office spaces anymore. Everybody works together. Everyone works in a, kind of an open air. Look at what the Herald Journal did when they moved over to the HSBC building? Merchants Bank building. It didn't come back. And what the problem that I see whenever I talk to those who are going for financing for office buildings, banks are being extremely difficult as it relates to lending money on office, because they're not doing long-term. You're not getting anybody doing a 20-year lease anymore. You're lucky if you can get them in a 5-year lease. And then if somebody wants to come in, the amount of improvements that they request as a term of the lease, I mean, a landlord can spend up to $250,000 plus to give them what they want in order to get in there. And banks are taking a hard look at the terms of these leases, because those, I think about the days of the Kmart lease. Everybody used to say in a shopping center, if you had a Kmart lease, you were golden. I mean, and maybe that's the disadvantage of being around for so long, John Black. Yeah, maybe that's the disadvantage of being around so long. But if you had a Kmart as a tenant, you didn't have anything to worry about. Those days are over.
Yeah.
Those days are gone. So that's my perspective from working with the property owners and them dealing with banks. I mean, it's very difficult.
Yeah, I'll speak to you as the property owner, but, to your points, those days are gone. And they needed to be thinking about their asset. The comparable sales are what the way you look at it, but the P&Ls have decreased, right? Their profits have decreased. So they need to be looking at their asset based on what they have. And thinking about working with banks, not just to refinance, to continue to operate as a office landlord. You've got offices being built 3 stories going up across the street. You've got a hotel kitty corner. You've got a building that just sold, which is a former hotel built as a Hilton that will be converted to residential apartments. So they need to be thinking like their counterparts around them,
Well,
especially
but I think
with
that's
Class
the
C.
process.
They've never
think-
upgraded to Class B.
But
They've only
look
kept at it.
Look at how they've converted. I mean, look at what 45A, when it came into effect, it did what it was supposed to do. It provided the benefits for property owners to invest. 45A did what it was supposed to do, to flourish, to bring back what residential people living downtown. There were those who took advantage of it and, found every loophole that was available to them. They found it, they worked the system and did what they needed to do. But we're in a different area when it comes to commercial office buildings. When you read the New York Times, I mean, every day there's articles on commercial real estate is in trouble. I mean, it's there, it's out there. And, I work with property owners. They don't over leverage their properties. They're not looking to take money out of it. They're just looking to maintain. There's not anybody that I work with now who, look to take out significant money out of their properties. The banks won't give it to them anymore.
But everything that's going on is what's increasing the property value. If they'd like to claim a market value of $3 million, that's what they should sell for.
Well, you have to look at, when you talk about sales, when you talk about comparable sales, I'm not privy to what their financial statements are. Could they have a Kmart in there, a 20-year lease? I don't know. Is it selling because they have New York State in there who's willing to pay X amount of dollars for 25 years? I don't know that. Those are things that are taken into account when you're looking at what the purchase price is. What are the leases? What are the terms? Are they long-term? Are they short-term? Short-term now is what's happening.
Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think generally downtown, there's a floor. Could argue where the floor is, but we've got enough comps of shells selling for the 485A conversion. And this is not much more than the next step up from that. Assessed to 24-foot, full market 38-ish. Is it an asset with Class B office space? Is it a shell where the leases are gravy? I don't know. But I'm comfortable with where we are on this one.
But we're still gonna do a walk.
Oh, love to do a walk.
Oh, yeah, only if it progresses
I think it's
in
always
a.
helpful, but
Right, I am happy to make those arrangements.
that's what you
We've seen
said,
just
though.
with the Wellington Place parking lots that we feel extraordinarily confident sitting in this building, and we get to the site and say, for the first time this year, we're wrong. So, let's do it.
Okay.
Anything you want to add in closing?
Thank you for your time, everyone. And then the only other matter I do have is a stipulation with the assessor. I didn't know if that was an opportunity to get this finalized. Okay, good, okay. Okay,
Nothing we have to read in then?
That was not scheduled, was it? No.
it was not scheduled for a hearing, but I
Yeah.
just thought if I
Just the
could
exemption.
get something,
Yeah, no, I'll take
okay, thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Well,
All
thank
right.
you for coming in.
Thank you again for your time.
Yes, absolutely, and I'm sure we'll see you.
Okay, well, it's always nice
Two
to
of the
see you, even if
walkthroughs.
it's only one time a year.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mary.
Likewise. This is Destiny? Is this the last petitioner? Okay. All right. So this I want you to read over
Yeah,
the
yeah,
weekend.
right, sure.
and come back with a report.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, I believe so. I told Sue I wanted her to read it this weekend and come back with a full report. Yeah, easy reading.
I'll get it done.
She's got an extra day
That's
on
right, too.
Monday. You can take
Done
Monday and,
before
Expect 3,000 words, proper use of lots of commas.
of course, absolutely.
We are empty on Tuesday and only have evenings on Wednesday, so you've got a lot of reading
So
time.
if you wanna,
Easy peasy.
yeah. How are you? Good. I think we just got a minor break going here for a second. Oh, Carl. Yeah, and then I'll call you up. Thank you. Yeah, if you want to. Thank you. Destiny. Previous. The previous guy. Who's that? Her name's Mary. Just Mary worked with.
She's worked with Sid Dvorak's for a long time. Now Sid passes everything that's going to litigation off the bar. Mike, don't. Passes those all off. Debbie Sullivan. They're reasoning so often. Yeah.
Yeah, a number of them, yeah.
Kid from Maine who's got some good investors.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting situation there.
Could be a good project.
Yeah.
Phenomenal location.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Upstate residents are going to fall all over themselves to pay top of market to live there.
Love that, yeah. Yeah, no, and it was kind of like an off-market situation. I knew the previous owners real well. They're from Binghamton and, just a investment group. But yeah,
They turned this around in 18 months, right?
Oh, yeah.
They sold that long ago.
yep, yep. Yeah.
Do something good, I think.
Yeah, the ones that sold it were not going to be the ones to convert it. No,
That's right.
They were buy and hold, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good to see that somebody would do it.
Yeah, he's been very aggressive in New England. I think he's got a couple projects in Connecticut, and he's done a lot up in Maine.
Yeah, so it should be good. But again, yeah, that's my gripe with,
That's the future for this one, too.
absolutely, without question. And that's you're pretty spot on with your numbers, so
Yeah. Right on market.
why they, claim. You got to get with the times.
Nobody.
They get seated on Sunday.
Yeah, it's all right. Okay.
How they looking? Oh, travel. Ooh. You want some?
Yeah, that's okay.
You should have said so.
That's all right, that's all right. I might run down.
The maybe. You seriously want to
No,
pour
no,
some out
I'm
of
good,
this?
I'm good. Nope, I'm good.
I've got COVID. I only got half COVID though, so
Oh, all right then.
there is a little bit. What? Yeah, see if there's more back there. Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're.
I should have asked first.
Don't worry about
I've never seen a board consume as much coffee as this.
I know.
This is a good bunch.
I know. It's terrible. Just waiting for Annie, or should we? Yeah. Okay. Couple minutes. Oh, we can go?
Don't need the second ward assessor for these second ward properties? No, of course, we can, I'm fine.
Okay. All right. If you want to come on up and have a seat. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And so obviously, we've got several properties. You're representing Destiny.
Yes, yep, I'm with Phillips Lytle LLP.
Okay, very good. And I'll swear you in, but are there any particular order? I guess what I've been saying is, are there any particular, order that you would like these read in and discussed? And/or as we come up on them, if there's properties that should be read in together, if you could let me know, not necessarily
Yes.
now, but as we go. And/or, well, I'll tell you what I'm got. Well, first up is 401 West Hiawatha. That doesn't necessarily mean we can take them in whatever's best for you. I can pull them out. It's not a problem.
Yes, we've grouped them into the vacant parcels and the parking parcels, so it'd probably be easiest to go through them in those two categories.
Okay. All right. So given that, I'll defer to you as far as,
Okay.
And I'll pull them out. And do you want to do vacant first or parking first?
No preference, whatever's easiest.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to defer to you on that. If
Okay.
you could raise your right hand, state your name for the record.
Jessica Sunsky,
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, very good. All right, so, I think what I'm gonna do you mind if, she calls them off and then you hand them to me? Sure. All right, that'd be great. That'll make it easier. Put them there. And then, so which, property you wanna start off with?
So we can, we'll start with do you want me to read all the parcels for the parking or just one at a time?
Why don't you read them all, then I'll put them over
Okay.
here and pull them.
So I have 116.01-03.
Do you have addresses or?
Yes, I do have the addresses as well.
Yeah,
So I
that'll
can-
make
I'll-
it easy,
yep,
because
I
that's
can
what
do
we
that.
have on the top of the
Okay.
files. And then he's gonna pull them, so just, read one and then give him a second to grab it.
Okay, so start with, let's see, so 400 Bear Street, Weston Van Rensselaer.
Okay, got it.
And then 301 Bear Street West to Solar Street. And 475 Solar Street to Barge Canal. Or 75 Solar Street rear. Or 70 Solar Street to North Clinton Street. Nine six seven Clinton Street North to Solar Street. Nine three one Clinton Street North to Court Street West. Four 50 Solar Street. Two 45 Bear Street West and Solar Street. Nine 01 Clinton Street North and Court Street West.
I'm a late night kind of guy, so I need the,
That's late night. It's not enough coffee to
phone's
bring me
not
back
ringing,
if I'm
allows
there
me
till
to
2.
get a lot of stuff done, you know. Thought I was gonna get snowed in based on the weather reports, but that didn't happen. The wind was, when I got home, I had to take my flag down, because it was nasty. Yes, it was, yeah. I came out and it was icy.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Okay, the This is going to be the last one for the vacant parcels. So this one is 401 Bear Street West in Van Rensselaer.
Okay, so these are the vacant parcels?
Yes, these are the vacant parcels, and the remaining ones are the parking parcels.
Okay, and so I'm just gonna, for your records, I have 11 files.
Yes,
Does that match up with you?
yes.
Okay. Now, my question is, and I was going in this direction for a reason, is it all basically the same argument as far as each property is concerned?
Yes, it is.
So maybe it would make sense to read them all in and then get, you know, comments from you,
Yes, that works.
as opposed to individually.
Yeah, that
And
sounds
then-
good.
But again, you know, there's not an interest of time.
Okay.
If you wanted it done separately and speak separately, we can do that.
Okay, no, they're all gonna have the same argument, so together is fine.
Not gonna write anything down at this point, so I'll rely on you guys to do that, and that would be great. Okay, so first property here is 400 West Bear Street. Property is vacant commercial parcel adjacent to Destiny USA. Current tentative assessed value of $6,000 with a land value of $6,000. Well, better. Okay, that would be a market value of $9,600. The petitioner believes the fair market value is $7,441, which would be an assessed value of $4,650. Next property, 301 West Bear Street. Property is a vacant commercial parcel adjacent to Destiny USA. Current tentative assessment of $1,535,000. Same land value, $1,535,000. Market value on that would be $2,456,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $470,000, which would be an assessed value of $293,750. Next property, 475 Solar Street. Solar Street. Would this be to the Barge Canal or Solar Street rear? Okay, this would be to the Barge Canal. Yeah. 475 Solar Street to the Barge Canal. Current tentative assessed value of $860,000 with the same land value of $860,000. It would be a market value of $1,376,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $330,000, which would be an assessed value of $206,250. And then the next one, in fact, is 475 Solar Street rear, which would be current tentative assessed value of $118,000, the same land value, $118,000. It would be a market value of $188,800. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $40,000, and that would be an assessed value of $25,000. Next property up is 470 Solar Street. Solar Street to North Clinton. This is current tentative assessment of $2,303,000 with the same land value, $2,303,000. Petitioner believes the market value of that would be $3,684,800. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $855,000, which would be an assessed value of $534,375. Next property, 967 North Clinton Street. The current tentative assessed value is $2,220,000 with the same land value of $2,220,000. That would be a market value of $3,552,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $680,000, and that would be a assessed value of $425,000. Next property is 931 North Clinton Street. 931 North Clinton Street and Court Street West. Current tentative assessed value of $1,760,000 with the same land value of $1,760,000. That would be a market value of $2,816,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $540,000, which would be an assessed value of $337,500. Next property, 450 Solar Street. Current tentative assessed value of $392,000 with a land value of $392,000. That would be a market value of $627,200. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $120,000. That would equate to a $75,000 assessed value. 245 West Bear Street and Solar Street. Current tentative assessed value of $122,000 with the same land value of $122,000. That would be a market value of $195,200. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $100,000, which would be an equatable assessed value of $62,500. Two more properties on this batch, if you will. 901 North Clinton Street. Court at West Court Street. Current tentative assessed value of $1 million with the same land value of $1 million. That would be a market value of $1,600,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $543,000, which would be an assessed value of $339,375. Last property in this section is 401 West Bear Street. Street in Van Rensselaer. We have a current tentative assessed value of $49,500 with the same land value of $49,500. That would be a market value of $79,200. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $13,100, which would be an assessed value of $8,187. So these are all, everything that was just read in is property. The properties are vacant commercial parcels adjacent to Destiny USA.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so whatever you would like to present, please feel free.
Yeah, so these parcels, they're all vacant, so as of now, they're not producing any income, and they are also independent and separate from the Destiny Shopping Center, so they are not connected to the overall value of the shopping center in that way.
And so what's so they're located further away from the other parking. What are these? Are these parking lots that are just not being utilized?
Yeah, it's just vacant land, it's not parking lots. I do have a map for the board as well, if this helps show where the parcels are located.
Yes.
And I wanted to mention also that these are also, they have petroleum contamination, and they are a part of the New York State Brownfield Cleanup Program, so.
Okay, so these maps are very helpful. And these are the vacant lands?
Yes, it's the vacant land.
Okay, and let me just get my bearings here. So this is that newer hotel that was put up?
I'm not entirely certain. I'd be happy to.
Yes, yeah, that's the Embassy Suites.
Okay, so that's the Embassy Suite, so I'm just trying to get.
The parking parcels are a part of this?
The parking parcels they are an overflow parking area for Destiny, so we just consider them separately just because
Right, so
of the
that's
use that they're
these
being used for.
files
Yes,
here,
that's what
okay.
those are being, that's
Okay,
what those are for.
all right, and and then the vacant lands that we just read off are behind those parking parcels away from Destiny?
Yes.
Just so we're understanding. Yeah, go ahead.
And you're representing the owner of these vacant lands?
Yes.
And you're aware that they're for sale?
I'd be happy, if the board follows up in writing, I'd be happy to just confirm that and
Yeah,
look
these are on the
into that.
market for 11.5 million. Just the parcel that doesn't include where the proposed aquarium will go, actually just across the street. So the rectangular shaped property,
Yeah.
that includes also the triangular shaped sliver.
Okay,
That whole portion is for sale. And then the baseball field
it's gonna be the.
style property
Yeah.
is aquarium proposed.
So this is the proposed aquarium area.
Yeah.
And then this is up for sale for 11.5 million?
Correct.
Okay, good to know. And you were not aware of that?
I'd be happy to confirm that if the board follows up in writing. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to look into that. But no, as of now, I can't confirm.
Can we just ask you now to confirm that?
Yes, I could, yeah, if I could just step out for a minute.
Oh, no, I don't
Oh, yeah,
necessarily
to-
mean now,
Oh, okay.
but I don't want to send you a letter asking the question,
Oh, yes.
right? So if you could just get back to us to.
Yes, yeah, by email or,
Yeah, send it to the
Oh,
city.
directly to the clerk, I think.
okay, yes.
Yeah, so it can go to Michelle.
Okay,
And we just want to confirm that they are in fact for sale, and then what the asking price is, and how long they've been listed.
If we may be so presumptuous as to supplement the board's request, we'd also love to hear if any of those is in contract right now.
Yes, absolutely. That would be very helpful. And I didn't ask, but are these in litigation?
Yeah, we bifurcated these a little differently than the petitioner. Well, we didn't, timed it. I believe 12 of these were reassessed for the 22 roll, 13 more for the 23 roll. So two different groups.
Some may
properties with 2
overlap
years at
on
issue and
these
those with
two
1.
sections here, okay. Okay. Okay, all right, very good. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's all I have, unless the board has any other questions.
No, just a confirmation on current listing, how long it's been listed, asking price, and if any of the parcels are under contract, would be great. Anything else?
Nothing from the city side.
Okay, that sounds good. Then what we'll do is go to this next section. These probably could be treated the same way as far as reading all of them in.
Yes, these are what we consider the parking parcels.
Okay, which is in yellow here?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And these are the ones that are, they're going parking lots, but based on where they are, you know, pretty much overflow type thing.
Yes, their use is restricted to overall parking for the Destiny Shopping Center.
Very good. So let me keep that there. Okay, so the first one I will take is 401 West Hiawatha Boulevard. So 401 West Hiawatha Boulevard and Solar Street. Okay. We have a current tentative assessed value of $2,100,000 with a land value of $1,830,000. The market value on the total would be $3,360,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $415,400, and that would be a assessed value of $259,625. Then we have 550 Solar Street. Petitioner the current tentative assessed value is $2,957,000 with a land value of $2,857,000. Yes, 550 Solar Street. 550 Solar Street, midway down. Once again, current tentative assessed value, $2,957,000 with a land value of $2,857,000. That would be a market value of $4,731,200. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $660. All right, so petitioner believes the fair market value is $660,000. Therefore, the assessed value on that would be $412,000. Yeah, you got it. I crossed it all out. You put it
Oh,
down.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Let the record show that Michelle made a mistake. But you're forgiven. Yes. Okay. 540 Solar Street. Once again, I didn't read it in on the first one, but these are all properties that are parking lots for Destiny USA. Again, 540 Solar Street. Current tentative assessed value, $1,886,000, with a land value of $1,786,000. That would be an assessed that would be a market value of $3,017,600. Michelle comes back in, I'm gonna let the record show that she made a second. Okay, so we have a, petitioner believes the, fair market value is $417,800. And that would be an assessed value of $261,125. Okay. 502 Solar Street. We have a current tentative assessed value of $869,000 with the same land value of $869,000. That would be a market value of $1,390,400. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $213,500, and that would be an assessed value of $133,437. $133,437. 250 West Bear Street. West Bear Street and Solar Street. Current tentative assessed value $824,000, with a land value of $744,000. That would be a market value of $1,318,400. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $183,600. And the equatable assessed value is $114,750. Let the record show that Michelle made mistakes number 2 and number 3. But who's keeping track? Who's keeping track? Okay, and next one, 200 West Bear Street. 200 West Bear Street. Current tentative assessed value, $1,060,000, with a land value of $935,000. That would be a market value of $1,696,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $213,900. And the assessed value on that would be $133,687. 301 West Hiawatha Boulevard rear. Once again, 301 West Hiawatha Boulevard rear. Current assessed, tentative assessed value, $25,000, with a same land value of $25,000. That would be a market value of $40,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $11,600, which would be a assessed value of $7,250. Then we have 300 West Bear Street. West Bear Street and Solar Street. Current tentative assessed value, $2 million, with a land value of $2 million. That would be a market value of $3,200,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $562,900. That would equate to an assessed value of $351,812. Next property, 531 Solar Street. Solar Street to the Barge Canal. Current tentative assessed value of $1,370,000, with a land value of $1,170,000. That would be a market value of $2,192,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $270,000, which would be an assessed value of $168,750. We have 541 Solar Street to the Barge Canal. Petitioner, the current tentative assessed value is $1,375,000, with a land value of $1,175,000. That would be a market value of $2,200,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $270,000, which would be an assessed value of $168,750. Looks like two more properties here. We have 561 Solar Street. Solar Street to the Barge Canal. Okay, I just want to clarify, on the sheet we have $2,020,000 assessed value, and then we have $2,100,000 on the sheet. So just wanted to confirm assessed value.
There's 551 and 561.
Right, and this is 561, and I'm reading 2 million. Okay, so it's okay. Yep. Yep, so let me find that. Okay, so well, they both say 561, that's why.
No, one says 551.
No, on there I know, but on the files, they both say 551. All right, so let me just match it up with that. That's Michelle again. Don't worry.
Friday.
Once we adjourn,
fives and sixes
once we
look the
adjourn,
same.
we're gonna take care of Michelle. So this here is 551. So 551 Solar Street, current tentative assessment of $2,020,000, with a land value of $1,820,000. And that would be a market value of $3,232,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $421,900. And that is an equatable assessed value of $263,687. Then we have 561 Solar Street. Current tentative assessed value of $2,100,000, with a land value of $1,900,000. That would be a market value of $3,360,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $455,700. And the equatable assessed value would be $284,812. So I think that's the total of the parking parcels. And I will turn it over to you.
The parking parcels, they're restricted as overflow parking for the Destiny Shopping Center. And these also have known environmental issues similar to the vacant parcels. They have petroleum contamination on the site, and they're also part of the New York State Brownfield Cleanup Program. And I'm happy to answer any further questions the board has.
Okay. Anything you know about this, Mike?
For a lot of the tenants that are in the expansion area of Destiny USA, as opposed to formerly Carousel, there are parking requirements. So it's not, I wouldn't consider it just overflow parking, it's actually required parking lots for the expansion area to be there. As far as the contamination, that doesn't surprise me. You wouldn't necessarily need to do an environmental phase 1 or 2 to put a parking lot on top of it. So, for future use, potential future use, I guess that does pose some economic challenges, but they are required parking. That's all I can say.
But they're okay, with the environmental, people still parking on it, walking on it, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
usable as a parking lot.
Anything you want to?
Yeah, they're all the subject of litigation, so we don't have too much to add, but valued as current use, the environmental is kind of moot.
Right. Just make a note here. So all of these that we've read in today are in litigation. How many years, how long, what's happening?
For, I believe, 13 of them, I'm not going to identify which 13. Yeah. 22 and 23. For the remaining 12, just 23.
Anything else you'd like to add? Okay. These, obviously not for sale because they're required and needed. Okay, so we will, we noted that they're in litigation. We'll take everything into consideration that you've presented, as well as the city. And then the city will send separate notices out first week of April. But if you could, does she have your email address?
Okay.
Okay, and that'd be great, if you could.
Yes.
You know, just be a good point of information.
Yep, I will do that. Thank
And,
you.
Yes, certainly have a great rest of the day.
Yes, you too. Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you for coming in.
Drive back.
Yes, I
All
am.
right, have a safe trip.
Thank you. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
Where do you gotta go to?
Buffalo. I'm from.
Oh, Buffalo?
Yes.
Oh, all right, well, good, safe travels.
I drove here. I know, it's okay.
All right,
Safe
be careful.
Drive safe.
Yep.
Before I close, I just wanted to say that Michelle does do a very nice job. And I'm saying this for fear of backlash after I adjourn the meeting. So I'm just going to keep the meeting open and stay here for a few hours until I know she's gone. Anyway, all seriousness, thank you very much. I move to make a motion to adjourn the meeting for today. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Meeting adjourned. Have a nice weekend, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.